Pick back up with pseudostratified epithelial tissue. So pseudostratified epithelial tissue, remember, it's only one cell layer thick. Pseudo means false. So it's a single layer of cells. The cells are differing in height, so it appears that they are in multiple layers because the nuclei will be in different areas of the cell. So that's what makes it look like it's more than one cell layer. Uh, However, if you follow the top of the cell to the bottom, to the basal surface, you will see that it's only one cell layer thick. The cells of pseudostratified epithelial may have cilia or may not have cilia. The ciliated versions we see in the respiratory tract, specifically the trachea and the upper respiratory tract, and this will help. The cilia will help propel things away from the lungs. So in the pseudostratified epithelium of the respiratory tract, we will also see goblet cells. We don't really see any goblet cells in this image here, but many times the tissue, pseudostratified epithelium, has goblet cells that will secrete mucus. And the cilia will help move that mucus along the top or the layer of the tissue that's facing towards the inside of the tube. So in this case, it would be the respiratory tract or the trachea. It'll help move things away from the lungs. So the function is to secrete, okay? Whereas with the cuboidal and with the simple columnar, we saw that secretion and absorption were functions. With the pseudostratified epithelium, those are primarily going to secrete, so that's the function. And specifically, a lot of times it's going to be mucus that is secreted. The non-ciliated type we see in the ducts of the male reproductive system, and the ciliated versions line the trachea and a lot of the upper respiratory tract. Moving on. The next slide. So this is just another histological image of the pseudostratified epithelium, and this looks like it is probably from the trachea. So you can see the pseudostratified epithelium, the nuclei appear to be in different layers, so that's what makes it look like it's stratified. But if we follow the cells, the adjacent cells down, we can see that it's only one cell layer thick. So here we also see the cilia that's facing the inside of the tube. So this is the apical surface where the cilia is. And like I said, this would probably be in the trachea or somewhere in the respiratory tract. Okay, so then we come to stratified squamous epithelium. So again, remember squamous epithelium, the cells are very thin, if we're looking at them from above, they look sort of like a fried egg. But the stratified squamous, we typically will see them from the side. But many layers of cells, and they're going to be very thin cells. So you can see the entire layer here of stratified squamous epithelium. The functions, we have actually two types of stratified squamous. We have non-keratinized and then we have keratinized versions. So the non-keratinized would be in the linings of moist surfaces that would be subject to friction. So for example, the vagina or the esophagus, those areas may be subjected to friction from external objects, and therefore the tissue needs to be able to protect somewhat. So the function would be protection of underlying tissues. So we would see stratified squamous epithelium in areas that we would encounter abrasion or friction of some type, and the function would be to protect the underlying tissues. Non-keratinized are going to be in moist areas like the esophagus, the vagina, the mouth to some degree, as you get towards the throat. Then we see keratinized. So keratinized versions, and we'll see this when we get to the integumentary system. So in keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, the cells, and specifically the upper layers of the cells, would become keratinized. And so the image on the right-hand side of the screen, this is actually in the esophagus. So this would be non-keratinized. And how we can tell the difference is that all these cells from the basal surface to the apical surface, they have nuclei. In keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, the upper layers of cells would not have nuclei. The entire cell would be filled up with keratin, so there would be no nucleus. Okay. So this is just another image of stratified squamous epithelium. This looks like it is from maybe the female reproductive tract. And I'm going to pause this and get a video of keratinized epithelium. Okay, so on the left-hand side here, this is stratified squamous epithelium. So if you look at all the layers from the basal layer to the apical layer, from the basal layer to the apical layer, all of the cells have nuclei. So multiple layers of cells, all the cells are alive, they all have nuclei. So that would be stratified squamous, and they're all pretty flat. So the squamous comes from the fact that they're flat. So this is non-keratinized. I guess that's not a good, it's too light. And then over here on the right-hand side, we have keratinized. And the only place that you're going to see keratinized stratified squamous epithelium is going to be in the skin. That's the only place. So from here, this is the basal surface. From here to the top, there's all stratified squamous epithelium. But you can see clearly that these cells up here, they are no longer alive because they do not have nuclei. And the reason why is because the cell has been filled up with keratin, which we will talk more about when we get into the integumentary system. But both examples of keratinized squamous, both examples of stratified squamous epithelium. The one on the left is non-keratinized, that we only see in moist locations like the esophagus or the vagina. The one on the right is keratinized, and the only place that keratinized stratified squamous epithelium is located is in the skin. And then transitional epithelium is the last of the epithelial types. Transitional epithelium here, it's got a different name, so you don't have like stratified or simple. And the name transitional is referring to the fact that the cells can change shape. Okay, so, and if you see the description up at the top, it says it resembles both stratified squamous and stratified cuboidal. So when the location, okay, let's go down here, the location of transitional would be in the ureters or in the urinary bladder or in parts of the urethra. And so these areas are subject to distension. So they can, if the bladder is empty, doesn't have any urine in it, it's going to be flaccid. It's not going to be distended. But if it's filled up with urine, then it's going to be distended. So when the bladder is not distended, the cells will resemble this sort of cuboidal shape, and you'll have multiple layers of it. It's very evident. But in the distended, and let me go. I pulled up another slide. So here we see an empty bladder on the right, and then a filled bladder or a distended bladder on the left. So those cells will actually change and become flatter. So in transitional epithelium, the cells can transitional from a almost cuboidal shape to a flat squamous sort of shape. So in both, whether it's in a relaxed condition, so whether it looks cuboidal or whether it looks squamous in nature, they are still going to be in multiple layers. So you're still going to see the stratified appearance. Okay. So then going back, so the function is that it's going to allow for stretch. So the bladder and the urethra and the ureters are able to stretch to allow the stored urine to move through the urinary tract. So in the next slide, this is a relaxed, probably bladder. So multiple layers, so the stratified appearance, and the cells are sort of cube shaped, sort of a difference with the simple cuboid or the stratified cuboidal and transitional is that the tops of the cells are almost rounded, and this allows for the cells to move easily past one another when they stretch out. Okay, so that is this transitional epithelium. So again, when it is in a distended state, the cells look flat, still stratified. In a relaxed state, the cells appear almost cuboidal with a rounded top surface, and this will allow the cells to move easily past one another when the bladder has to stretch out.